You clicked on this video to learn animation, but on mobile. And it doesn't matter if you're on Android or iOS, you can download all the apps we're using from the Play Store or App Store. There are multiple animation apps out there like FlipaClip, Ibis Paint, Rough Animator, Calipeg, Clip Studio Paint, and Procreate Dreams. I recently switched to Procreate Dreams and wow, it's a really great app with tons of tools. I'd highly recommend it. But if you're wondering what the studios actually use, it's Clip Studio Paint. That's like the S rank level animation app. So yeah, go ahead and check out all the apps and see which one works for you. In this video, we'll be using FlipaClip because it's one of the most beginner-friendly animation apps on mobile, and it has a lot of potential. For this tutorial, we'll focus on learning the app interface. We'll talk more about actual animation techniques in the next video. This is just one of many tutorials I'll be posting, so let's get started. First, to download and open FlipaClip. When you open it, you'll see the dashboard with all your previous projects. Tap the plus icon to create a new animation project. This option here is FPS, frames per second. The higher the FPS, the smoother your animation will look, but it also means more drawing. We'll explain this properly later. Next, choose your project size. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, or even a custom size. You can also name your project here. Change the background color. Import a background from your files. Take a photo, or use a pre-made background. Once that's done, let's jump into the interface. This is what the FlipaClip interface looks like. You can zoom in and out of the canvas by pinching with your fingers. This is the brush tool, which you'll use to draw. Tap it to choose from different brushes. If you tap the arrow next to it, you can edit the brush settings, increase stabilization, change the thickness, or adjust the opacity to make your strokes more visible or lighter. This shortcut here lets you quickly change the brush size. Tap on color to change the brush color. You can choose from the color wheel, classic mode, harmony, value, or even pre-made color palettes like sketch, anime, or old Japan styles. Feel free to experiment until you find a color you like. Below that, you'll see the undo and redo buttons. This is the eraser tool. You can increase or reduce the size, change the opacity, or lightly erase without removing everything. Next is the lasso tool, which lets you select a drawing to move, delete, or transform it. This tool lets you flip your drawings horizontally or vertically and apply perspective adjustments. The bucket tool is used to fill color, but make sure your line art is fully closed or the color will spill outside the drawing. You can also adjust the fill opacity so the drawing underneath still shows. This T-shaped icon is the text tool. You can add text, change the font, color, and size, then tap the screen when you're done. When you tap the three dots, two more tools appear, the blur tool and the smudge tool. The blur tool lets you soften your drawing by adjusting the blur strength and size. The smudge tool lets you drag and distort parts of your drawing. You can reduce or increase the smudge strength depending on how strong you want the effect. At the top right, tap on Project Settings. Here, you can change the output size, export format, enable a transparent background, or remove the FlipaClip watermark, though watermark removal requires the premium version. You can also edit the project settings from here at any time. Other important tools include the frame viewer, onion skin, magic wand, and options to add images or videos. Onion skin lets you see your previous and future frames, making animation much easier. You can adjust how many frames you see before and after, but higher limits require premium. If you tap the brush tool and then the ruler, you'll find tools for drawing straight lines, circles, boxes, and a mirror tool that mirrors everything you draw on both sides of the canvas. Now let's animate something simple. I'm drawing guidelines for the floor and the ball's movement so the animation stays clean. Next, I create a new layer for the ball. Layers are extremely important. They allow you to draw different parts of your animation separately. For example, if you draw the ball on one layer and the face on another layer, you can edit the face later without affecting the ball. Now I'll animate a bouncing ball. First, I squash the ball. This is one of the principles of animation called squash and stretch. It helps build anticipation before movement. Next, I stretch the ball to create the illusion of fast motion. Then I draw the ball easing out and landing back on the ground. With just 6 frames, we already have a smooth bouncing
ball animation.
Now I add facial features on a separate layer so editing them later won't affect the body. You can also rename layers by tapping on them. Next, I color the ball. Make sure there are no gaps in your line art or the color will spill out. And just like that, we have a clean, bouncing ball animation. Using the frame viewer, you can copy, paste, duplicate, or delete frames. You can also duplicate frames to adjust timing, like holding anticipation or easing frames longer. Finally, export your animation as MP4, GIF, or PNG sequence. For this tutorial, we'll export as MP4, and that's the basic FlipaClip interface. In the next tutorials, we'll cover animation principles, better movement, and more advanced animations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.